What's up, everybody? My name is Parker Beatier. I am a full-time Amazon seller. I've been doing this for a year now, and I'm coming up on $1 million in sales. Today, we're going to walk through Keepa, what it is, how to get it up on your computer, and everything like that. So let's jump into the video, and I'll share my screen. So Keepa is pretty much like 21 American dollars a month. When you first subscribe, it's going to have you with a free trial, and you're not going to get all of the data points that you pretty much need. So make sure to go subscribe on here. And when you load up Keepa, it can be loaded up into Google Chrome, Safari, install Edge, whatever you want. And it's pretty much going to load up into your extensions up here. And once you have that loaded, you're going to pull up an Amazon listing, and it will essentially have this big chart below there. This is all the data that you're going to need to be successful on Amazon. This is all the data that you're going to need to be successful on Amazon. So what are we looking at here? We'll start with this big chart right here. This is very, very important for an Amazon seller. This has nothing to do with Keepa. This is SellerAmp, so I'll just close that out. But SellerAmp is very important as well. Those are the two softwares that I use. So when you're looking at this chart here, there's a lot going on here. You're pretty much going to start with the sales rank. So sales rank is pretty much Amazon's way of saying how fast this item sells as a listing. So this entire listing is given a sales rank. And if you open up SellerAmp here, basically, if you stay under 100K rank, the item is moving very well. Amazon gives it a rank based on how it ranks the product. So if it was number one on the sales rank, then it would be the fastest moving product in that category. So this is the 37,000th fastest listing in this category. So we're going to start looking at the sales rank here. Amazon gives each item a rank, or each listing a rank of how fast they sell. So right now, this listing is the 37,000th fastest moving listing on Amazon in the clothing, shoes, and jewelry category. So typically, we try to stay under 100K rank, and we want to see some consistency here. So this is a very consistent listing. This listing sells fast all the time, and you can see a lot of movement in the offer count as well. Up here, you have like the little pink lines. This is the buy box. So currently, if you look at size, let's say it's size 10, the buy box, the buy button is $110. So that is what you're seeing on here, $110. And it pretty much tracks that throughout the year. You can see here, the buy box actually went away. So Amazon did not have a buy box on the listing, and I'll show you what that looks like on another product. So what you can see is like when an item has a buy box, the item actually sells much faster. You can see this is the offer count. So this is all of the people that are selling this item. So on June 6th, there was 43 Amazon sellers selling this item, and now there's 9. So that means all those people sold out, and this item is obviously moving very rapidly and selling out because it has a buy button. If it doesn't have a buy button, the sales are much, much slower. And for that, you can see like a little bit more flatter lines here. So it's not as choppy. It's not aggressively downward movement. You want to buy stuff that's aggressively moving downwards because you're going to get a spike in price. And when you get a spike in price, obviously you can make more money. On the flip side, if you see this right here, you are obviously going to see the price drop. This is an example of an item that was super easy to find. It was probably sold on the brand website, and a lot of sellers hopped on it. So it dropped from like 119 all the way down to 78. So that is a big drop. And this is why you guys need to understand these charts and understand that things can drop. Now, if you look at a Keepa chart, there's pretty much a range that these products always are in. So you can kind of see the low is down here in the 70s, and it really never gets below that, pretty much 70, mid 70s. And then the highs are like 120. So if you're buying at the absolute top and you need to be profitable there, it's probably not the smartest buy for you, because if this drops to the low, then you're going to be losing money on the items. Whereas if you're profitable at, mid 70s, then you're probably safe. No matter what, you're going to make some money on this product. And that's kind of like the thought process that comes here. These orange little checks are just new FBA offers. So those are just people that have listed this product FBA, and it's really nothing crazy to really look into. It just kind of tells you where people are listed FBA, and you can kind of tell that on the chart. Down here in the middle, this is actually a new addition that I have checked onto my Keepa. This is the monthly sold. So this is the data right here, just in chart form. So it was selling 100 per month, then it dropped to 50 per month, then it came back to 100 per month. And you can see like this data usually trails like a month or so. So when it lost the buy box, it wasn't selling anymore. It wasn't selling 50 plus anymore. And that makes sense because there was no buy button for the customer. And then the buy box flicks back on. And now we start to see that movement gets back to 100 per month. And we start seeing offers sell out. You can sort by the entire year. So you can see this was all the way back in 2018. We had people on this. And you can see how year after year this kind of follows certain trends, stuff that you can look at. And it's very important to kind of understand all that. You can also go to 3 months. This is where I typically am because I want to see in the last 90 days kind of what's been going on. I don't really need to know the full year unless it's like a seasonal product and you can look at last year. So what you see is like this is a downward trend. This is a very good looking product. And because of that, we get a price increase. We also have a lot of price stability here. So let's say you were buying here, it stayed at that price the entire time. So you would have made some money off that. And that's kind of like the products we want. We don't want the products that are going to be going down in price. Like if we would have bought way up here and then a lot of people come on it and tank the price. So it's just very important to know you can go to the month, you can go to the week, and then you can go to the day as well. Now you can also uncheck some of these. So when you guys first load up your Keepa, you're going to have a little bit different than mine. But these are the ones that I check. You really don't need this eBay one either, and you don't need to use as well. But this is how I do my charts. In here, you're going to have track product. So this is if you had a product that you wanted to know if it hit a certain price, it would send you an email. Like if it went way up in price, you would then get an email notification if it hit $94.99, and you can track it for however long you want. In the data tab, there's some important stuff in here. So this is pretty much just going to have the reviews, all the stuff here that you're pretty much going to have in SellerAmp as well. I don't look too much into down here. The ASIN is what you're going to list the product under. So that's what Amazon identifies each size and color. So it knows exactly what item it's talking about. You're going to have the UPC code and all of that. You're going to have the size, the color, and all the dimensions as well. Sales rank, like we talked about, Amazon gives a rank to the listing. You want to try to stay usually under 100K. You have the averages, 30, 60, and 90 days and 180 days. And then you can see a sales rank drops. This is just like how drastically the sales rank is dropping in the last 30 days. And then you're going to have buy box. Current is 110, and the 90-day average is actually 90. So the 90-day average is $20 lower. And I would typically want to be profitable at the 90-day average because that's a little bit more stability in price over the last 3 months or so. And then even the 180-day average is $90. So if you were profitable at $90, it's a very good chance that you would not lose money on this product. And then you have all the new offers, FBM and FBA. And then you have all the eBay and used offer count and all that stuff. You don't really need to look down here. The only thing I would really look at is the 90-day average to kind of see that, and then the sales rank in there. Offers. So this is kind of a tricky area. You can see what stores are actually selling this item and their stock counts. Now, if there's a question mark here, it actually means that they're hiding their stock with an order limit. Like they have only allowed customers to order 1 or 2 at a time, so you can't see their stock. So in this scenario, this is completely worthless data to me. If there was like a little bit of a trickle down and it looked very, very realistic of how many sales they would be getting a day, then I might take some of this data into account. But if it's like a big drop off a cliff, then a seller probably just pulled like 10 to 15 off their stock because they recounted their inventory. So I definitely wouldn't 100% trust this data, but sometimes it can be worth to look at. Buy box statistics. So these are the sellers that are winning the buy box, the sellers that are up here in the buy box rotation. You can see that this storefront is won 12% of the time in the last 30 days. You can see what price they were getting at. So you know that like 5% of the buy box was at 110. You can see 7% was at 89. So these people are all selling at a lot different prices, and that's just something to take into account. You can see what the offer count was when they were selling this. And then you can also see if it was FBM or FBA. If it was FBM, then there's no checks here. So those are FBM, and then FBA is obviously checked. So this is a very FBM friendly product because they're getting buy box as FBM sellers. They're not getting the Prime label and they're still able to get the buy box. And then you can see when they last won it, you can see their review counts. We have some big sellers on here, their ratings, which is pretty irrelevant. And then when they last won the buy box. So they got it just now. You can see it's rotating 1 day ago, 4 day ago, just now, 1 day ago. So this is a product that is moving because it's rotating buy box and it's giving it to other sellers. You can also look on the 1 year and see that it's very, very dispersed. There's not one seller dominating. If it's like a seller that's 90% of the buy box, it's not something that I would necessarily want to sell, because Amazon's algorithm, when you're on the buy box and you're in stock a lot, it rewards you for that. So they're going to get more buy box. So if it was like 90, 80%, it would be a little bit concerning, but I wouldn't be scared to sell the product. It's just something I would take into account. Obviously, we're not going to be selling used stuff, so don't really need that. The variations tab, this is super important. So you have all of the shoes that are up here and their sizes down here in one chart. And I've organized my chart this way. You can configure your columns here by checking these exact ones right here. And then you can turn them on and off and do whatever you want with that. And then they also drag within here. So if you wanted to drag them, you could. What I normally do is I'll sort by ratings. So then I know that whichever products have the most ratings typically sell the fastest, as long as they have a buy box. So you can see that this product's getting 11.8% of all the sales on this listing, 10%. And obviously it's the black, white shoes, size 10, 10 and a half. So really popular sizes, and it makes sense. I put my offer count tab here so I can see which ones are selling out. And then I also have the buy box so I can see the prices going up as well. So I put buy box, my offer count. Then you have the current buy box price that you can sort by as well. So I can see which ones have a buy box and are highest price currently. You can have the color here. You can sort by color. If you only have one color on a website, you can see that. You can also sort by size if you only had one size. And then I don't usually sort by the title, but you could do that too. And then you could also sort by bought in the past month. So these are the ones that are currently selling the fastest, even though they don't have the most reviews. And then if you drag over here, there's a few other things. You can look at the reviews, the ASIN. I really don't look at this. I will sometimes look at tracking cents, because some listings have brand new shoes on there. So let's think about this. If there was a listing that was only 100 days on here and it only had 15 reviews, well, obviously it hasn't been around as long, so it's not going to have accumulated all of those reviews. Does that kind of make sense? So I definitely check on that. It's not something that's like super important, but it's data that you need to take into account. You have earn money in here, which is irrelevant. This is just if you want to send someone your Keepa link. Settings in here, I don't really mess with anything in here. I pretty much leave it how it is. And that's about it for down here. Now on Keepa, you also have data. So you're able to use KPF Product Finder. And what this does is it lets you search for products. You're able to look at products that have criteria that falls within the data that you put. So let's say if I put 0 to 100,000 sales rank, because that's typically where you want to be, then you can look, you can pick what buy box price they have, if Amazon's on the listing, all of this other stuff within here. I don't really look at all the used stuff. You can choose categories. You can look into subcategories, which I typically don't do. If a product has like a certain text, like let's say you were looking for a backpack, you could add that in the text field. If it was a certain type of product, a certain manufacturer, typically I'll stay with brand. So let's say like Adidas, you can select that. So now I can see Adidas products that are under 100K rank. And we can also go down here into the offer count. We can say like, okay, we only want to find products with 5 offers because they only have 5 sellers. There's not that much competition. Or you can do like a 90-day drop percentage in offer count, which means in the last 3 months, what percentage of offers fell off on the listing. So you can tell if it's selling faster. And there's a bunch of stuff that you can do with all this. So you have Keepa Product Finder, which is actually going to look for products. And then you have the Keepa chart under the chart right here. So that's a quick intro to Keepa. It's a really good tool for finding products. I would get very good and comfortable with looking at this stuff, because once you search in here, you'll see the products that you can find. And now you have all these listings and the Keepa chart that comes with them. When you're in here, you can sort by review count. You can sort by price going up, 90-day drop percentage if the arrow is going up. And you have all of this data of how fast they're selling, what these charts look like, and you can pull up the exact Keepa chart of every single item that comes up here. So once you filter the data where you want it, you're going to be able to look at all these items here. So this is pretty much what it means. If there's a yellow tint in the background, it means Amazon is on the listing. You can see that there. And then Amazon sells out. So now they're off the listing, and you can see everyone else starts selling out too. This product is fully sold out for the last few months. So that's a quick intro to Keepa, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.